Have you ever just felt a little out of step with everyone else? Like you're operating on a slightly different frequency? Well, what if that's not a bad thing? What if it's not a bug at all, but actually a feature? Let's get into what that really means, right? Well, it seems like everyone else is chasing the spotlight, craving noise and constant connection. You might find yourself pulling back, looking for quiet, looking for space. And it's a feeling a lot of us share, but it's one the world doesn't always get. Society has a few choice words for this, doesn't it? You get labeled antisocial, maybe even broken, or a failure. But what if psychology has a completely different take on it? Turns out it does. Psychology suggests that being comfortable in your own solitude isn't a failure at all. It could be a sign of being what's called a high-quality loner. And that one term just reframes everything. Suddenly, it's not about an inability to connect with people. It's about having a mind that's so complex and deep that shallow, surface-level connections just feel, empty. Your solitude isn't a weakness. It might just be your greatest strength. So let's dive into the 5 signs that this might be you. Okay, sign number 1. Let's talk about what I call the high standard social filter. And to be clear, this is not about avoiding people, it's about being incredibly selective about who gets your time and, more importantly, your energy. So here's the deal. You're not actually avoiding relationships, you're just avoiding the shallow ones. You understand that some social gatherings are more draining than they are rewarding. Fake friendships, just not your thing. Because you know deep down that feeling lonely in a crowd of the wrong people is so much worse than just being on your own. And this all points to a really powerful psychological idea: having an internal locus of evaluation. It means your self-worth isn't based on how many friends you have or how many parties you get invited to. Nope. You live by your own internal compass, not by society's scoreboard.
All right, let's move on to our second sign. Now this one is less about conscious choice and a lot more about the very wiring of your brain.
Just think about it for a second. After a party or a big social event, do you feel this deep physical need to just go retreat into a quiet, dark room? Well, if that's you, there is a very real neurological reason for it. Psychologists call this high social sensitivity. Your nervous system is basically like a high-resolution sensor. It's picking up on everything, every tiny shift in someone's tone of voice, their body language, the subtext. You're not just hearing the words, you're processing the entire emotional landscape of the room. And that, as you can imagine, burns a ton of energy. So let's just be crystal clear on this. Needing that alone time isn't you being shy or rude or antisocial. It's a biological requirement. It's your brain's non-negotiable need to recharge and process all the data it's just taken in. Okay, sign number 3. This one is all about your self-worth. Where does it actually come from? The psychological term for this is low social dependency. And in a world that's obsessed with likes, shares, and comments, needing constant external validation is the norm. But for a high-quality loner, that self-esteem is sourced internally. What this really means is that your confidence doesn't require an audience. You can entertain yourself, you can solve your own problems, and you can feel whole and complete without needing a round of applause from the outside world. So, our 4th sign, this one might seem a little odd at first glance, but I promise you it's actually a hallmark of some pretty advanced thinking. Do you ever talk to yourself? Of course you do. And guess what? It's not a sign of madness, not even close. Psychologists have a name for it: verbal reasoning. It's a powerful tool for structuring your thoughts, working through complex problems. You're literally building a world inside your mind, and sometimes you just gotta talk through the blueprints out loud. And now, let's get to our final sign. Have you ever been the quiet one in a group? Well, that quietness isn't boredom or disinterest. It's deep, deep analysis. People might look at you and think you're just shy. But what you're really doing is something called active observation. Your brain is running these incredible predictive models in the background, decoding the room's unspoken language, the hidden dynamics. You're sensing things most people completely miss. And that's the real takeaway here. Your silence is strategic. You're not a wallflower just sitting on the sidelines. You're a strategist, quietly gathering all the data that everyone else is too busy talking to notice. So, what do we do with all this? What's the big takeaway? It's pretty simple, actually. It's about finally embracing your nature instead of constantly fighting against it. First step, just stop. Stop forcing social connections that feel wrong, that drain you. Second, acknowledge that your brain is wired differently. It works in deeper, more complex ways, and that's a good thing. And finally, the most important step, give yourself permission. Learn that you are finally allowed to rest in your own company. It's not a failure, it's your sanctuary.
I'm going to leave you with this one thought. This isn't about being alone forever. It's about understanding that a really complex, powerful mind often has to walk a less traveled path. Your journey simply requires space, it requires reflection, and it requires the courage to be different.
So from now on, I want you to see your solitude not as a problem to be fixed, but as a superpower. It's a space where creativity happens, where self-discovery happens. So the question isn't, how can I be more social? The real question is, what will you build with the incredible strength you already have?